Once you reach Act 2 of Silksong and start exploring the Citadel, you may stumble across the Great Taste of Pharloom Sidequest, which requires you to bring 5 specific ingredients to Loyal Mergwin in exchange for some pale oil to upgrade your needle. Some of these ingredients are painless to collect, while others will take you far away to places you may not have even seen yet. Here's how to collect every ingredient, including that pesky Crustnut, for the Great Taste of Pharloom Sidequest. For those of you who are looking for hints towards each item without being shown the solution, you can talk to Mergwin to get some brief direction for one item at a time if you like. If you want to know exactly where to go though, keep watching. Also, you won't be able to gather all of these items until you have the Claw Line and Fade Down Cloak abilities. We're going to work our way down the list, starting with the Mossberry Stew. This ingredient can be found by speaking with the Moss Druid in Mossholm above Bone Bottom. You can get to this location pretty quickly from the Bellway. You simply need to ask and they'll hand the stew over, just like that. Next up is the Vintage Nectar. And while this isn't difficult to find, you will need to bring 480 rosaries with you in order to trade for the nectar. If you're short on cash, the coral chambers are full of pilgrims who can drop rosaries for you, and completing side quests will sometimes reward you with rosaries too. Once you've got the money, head to the halfway home in Greymore and speak to Craig, or Craig, or Craigie, however you say that. Once you fork over the beads, he'll open the cellar door for you to go and retrieve the nectar. This area is more or less just a vertical chamber. Watch out for the birds and mice, and once you get to the bottom, inspect the nectar and... these guys? You now have to clear out the cellar of this ant infestation. Hopefully you've upgraded your health and needles since the last time you fought these guys earlier in the game. Clear all of the enemies as you climb up the room, and then once you reach the top and see rumbling, descend again and clear out the enemies that have replaced the ones you just took out. You'll then need to take out this Scar Guard too, and watch out for when he takes out this upper platform. Use all of your new abilities to stay mobile and out of range of its attacks. You could probably jump underneath the Scar Guard and attack up through the platform to sneak some hits in, like I did with this flying enemy. Once every ant in the cellar is defeated, the Vintage Nectar will reveal itself again, and you can pick it up before getting far, far away from this place. Now comes the first of the tricky ingredients to gather. The Courier's Rasher can be collected from the Courier brothers, Tip and Pill. To unlock these two Couriers, you need to complete the My Missing Courier wish, followed by the My Missing Brother wish. Once you've found both brothers, they'll set up a little stall above the shop in Bellheart, where they'll ask you to complete deliveries for them, including the delivery for the Courier's Rasher. This item is fragile and spoils over time. That means you can't use fast travel methods while it's in your possession without it breaking, so you'll need to take the Rasher to Mergwin quickly while on foot. You also need to avoid taking damage, as each hit you take damages the item too. Even bonking into walls while sprinting will degrade it. To help maximize Hornet's speed, I equipped the Silk Speed Anklets, which lets Hornet sprint faster. You can find this tool in Weave Nest Sindril in Far Fields. The fastest and safest way to get to Mergwin from Bellheart that we found was by traversing the blasted steps, sprinting through the Grand Gate, and then climbing the scales in this room, using the tunnel created by breaking this wall, and then emerging into the coral chambers before climbing the leftmost side and then running through the hot springs to make it to Mergwin. It's best to only attempt this run after getting the map and exploring the coral chambers extensively, so that you can make sure you don't get lost, and so any one-way barriers and other shortcuts are already unlocked. Fair warning, this route is made much easier when you have the Fade Down Cloak, as this lets you skip over a lot of the jumping puzzles in the blasted steps and get through them more quickly. It's also a requirement for accessing this shortcut in the Scales room behind the Grand Gate. Here's the full run we did to get the Rasher delivered. From Tip and Pill, drop down and sprint through the Shellwood. Travel across most of the bottom of Shellwood and then start climbing past the sign for the bench. Use your movement abilities when possible to keep up the pace. sprint past the Shellwood Bellway through to the Blasted Steps. Climb the first gap, then sprint to the right, being careful not to fall into the spikes ahead. In this next area is where you need to start using your double jump to skip encounters and puzzles. When you enter this room, use the claw line on this enemy to get an aerial boost and climb up these rocks. Once you're through, sprint through the Grand Gate until you reach the scales, then climb up. You need to reach a platform that's on the upper right of the room and then run through the broken wall. Watch for the spinning traps on the other side, then climb up until you see the Ventrica sign. Run left past the Ventrica and climb up. There's a hidden gap in this room in the top left corner. Climb through there and keep going. Go right until you see the springs, then climb up and go right to go through the springs room. Just don't jump in the water, it will damage the ingredient if you do. Run through the other side, climb through the hatch, in the floor above, and then run to the right. Then quickly climb into the restaurant in the next room and sprint as fast as you can to Mergwin. It's time for the one I bet most of you came here for, the Crustnut. This ingredient isn't hard to gather per se, but it's very, very well hidden, even with Mergwin's hint. You'll definitely need the claw line for this, and the fade down cloak, while not required, will also help you a lot here. From the Blasted Steps Bellway, we need to travel down to the Pinstress's floating hut, past the Conchfly boss room. Rest at the Pinstress's hut, then jump up to the left and use these claw line hoops to climb to the top of the room. Keep climbing in this next room, and then go right to find the Sands of Karak. That's right, it's an entirely new area. Unless you've been here already, that is. This area's gimmicks are the destructible crust walls that you'll need to break apart, and the temporary platforms that are created whenever you break one of these baubles. Proceed to the right until you reach a large vertical room, then climb up and enter the room on your left to find Chakra for the map. From Chakra's room, you need to climb up the vertical chamber some more, and then break open this wall on the left near the floating platforms. This entire next room is full of more spiky crusts that you need to destroy in order to clear a path. I recommend equipping the Druid's Eye tool to regain silk whenever you get hit, as there aren't too many enemies in this room to help you regenerate your health from. And while the spikes aren't too dangerous, there is such a large number of them that they may whittle your health down over time. Keep breaking walls, floors, and ceilings while trying to travel to the left, and eventually you will find what you have been seeking, the Crustnut. Getting out of this room now should also be much easier than it was to get in. Last but not least is the Pickled Muckmaggot, which can be found in Sinner's Road once you've got the fade down cloak. Make sure you've unlocked this bench in the room where you find Chakra by completing the platforming puzzle in this area. And rest here before dropping down in the next room and travelling to the right. Fight or run past the enemies in this room until you reach the far side, then jump up the vertical chamber with your double jump. Climb up, open the hatch, and then make sure you open this side door on the left. Now you can run back here faster from the bench where you just rested. Up and to the right of the door is a large room with a gong in it. Strike the gong and you will start a challenging combat encounter. Take out these two nasty chef flies, and then it's time to fight disgraced Chef Lugoli, who enters the room by splashing Muckmaggots at you. They'll do this throughout the whole fight, and getting hit by these will give you the same effect as if you had jumped into the Muckmaggot water from Sinner's Road and Bile Water. If you want to make this encounter a bit easier, you can equip the Wreath of Purity, which can be found in the Putrefied Ducts, in order to help protect you against the Muckmaggot status. We have a separate guide video for the Wreath if you want help finding it. Lugoli moves surprisingly quickly, and of course deals double damage, so you need to stay agile even if you are protected from the Muckmaggots. Their sideways butt slam travels far across the screen, and their vertical strikes are very fast. Make ample use of your dash to get to safety, and learn the Muckmaggot patterns so you can reliably dodge them as they come. You can also strike the Muckmaggot blasts to keep them at a distance. If you're ever in the corner, take the next opportunity to dash or jump out, as you can easily get slammed against the wall here, or cornered by the Muckmaggots. Halfway through the fight, Lugoli will begin diving under the stage, before emerging again and sending more Muckmaggots your way, but it's not too different to the rest of the fight. Once Lugoli is defeated, you can claim your prize, the Pickled Muckmaggot. Now you can return to Mergwin and complete the quest. With the Pale Oil claimed, you can now upgrade your needle by heading back to the Pinmaster in Belhart, talking to him, and forking over 450 rosaries. Now you'll hit harder and be ready for even the toughest challenges in Act 2 and beyond. Be sure to check out our other needle upgrade guide videos to help maximize your potential damage, and check in with our wiki for any other help you might need with Silksong. For all other things gaming, stick with IGN.